Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Ravenna Rail Revival. I am Chad Harpole. I am Vice President of Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation, and I'll be serving as your Master of Ceremonies today. Thankfully, just like the royal wedding, the weather is held off, so we thank Mother Nature for that, and we have an absolute beautiful day for a wonderful project announcement. On behalf of Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation and CSX, we're so thankful that you guys took the time to come out from Estill County and the surrounding area. We've got folks from all over the state of Kentucky here today, and we're thrilled to make this announcement. Our first speaker to welcome you to Estill County will be Judge Kevin Williams. He has served as Estill County's Judge Executive since the beginning of 2018 when he was appointed by Governor Matt Bevin on January 1st. Kevin has dedicated his life to service of the community, spending 4 years as Irvine City Council member and 13 years as an Estill County magistrate. He is a 1982 graduate of Estill County High School and a 1985 graduate of the Eastern Kentucky University Fire Science Program. He is a retired fire captain from the Lexington Division of Fire and Emergency Services, and most importantly, he is the grandson of two former Louisville and Nashville railroaders, Columbus Williams and A.W. Bonney. Judge?
Appreciate it. Wow, what a great day. Everybody give everybody a hand here. This all started a few years ago, and it shows you what communicating and working together does. From the federal level to the state level to the local level, public-private partnerships, nonprofits, everybody getting involved in this community to pull this off. I mean, what a great day, right? I mean, it's a reality. We've been, everybody's just so been waiting and wanting this day to happen. 2018's been a great year. The year of the train, I call it. We're getting everything back on the track, starting with our high school and our basketball team making the first state tournament appearance, which was exciting. This is just like that. I see all this excitement out here from these people in our community and our young kids. That's what it's all about. We got to keep moving forward, keep the energy going, keep working with our officials, reaching out to Washington, reaching out to Frankfort, and reaching out to you all to let us know what needs to come to this county, and that's what I'm all about. So, great day. As you can tell, I'm excited. I'm not a bit nervous. I'm just excited because, we've had to hold back on what we say a little bit to let all these people talk, but it's a great day. We'll remember this day for a long time, I promise you, okay? So let's keep our momentum going and keep the train whistle going toot, 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 okay? Thank you all.
Thank you, Judge. As you can tell, if you look around you, we've got quite the crowd, and there's a few folks that I'd like to recognize that are special guests today and that have helped make this project happen over the last few years. We want to start with Congressman Andy Barr. Congressman, thank you for coming out. I will say in an honest fashion, the Congressman was the first elected official to hear about this dream that Chris Campbell and us shared. We were standing in a house in Lexington one day on a cold February evening, and I said, Congressman, we've got this steam engine, and we've got to find a place to put it. So, Congressman, thank you for all your support and your staff's support along the way. State Senator Albert Robinson's with us. State Senator Reggie Thomas. Representative Toby Harold is here, and of course, Commissioner Donahue, who you'll hear from a little bit later. From Estill County government, we'd like to thank Magistrate Marty Snowden, Magistrate Bill Eldridge, Magistrate Darrell Johnson. County Attorney Rodney Davis has been instrumental in helping this project come to the point that it is now. We have Clerk Sherry Fox, Circuit Clerk Stephanie Brenniger, Sheriff Gary Freeman. We want to appreciate the Sheriff's Department and everybody that turned out today to help us. Jailer Bo Morris, PVA Jeff Hicks, Ravenna Mayor Estine Tipton, and members of the Ravenna City Council. And of course, Irvine Mayor Noland is recovering from a medical scare, so our thoughts and prayers are with him, but we want to thank him and members of the City Council. From CSX, we're appreciative to have Chantel Davis in, who you'll hear from later. David Hall, who's my counterpart with CSX, is the resident vice president in Kentucky. Eric Henderson, director of network planning. Adam Brennan, assistant superintendent of CSX's Northeast region. and Kia Lawson with Media Relations. Other invited guests that we'd like to recognize, we have many members of the Board of Directors of the Kentucky Railway Museum and their Executive Director, Greg Matthews. Thank you guys for making the trip. All the members of the board of Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation and their families are here today. We appreciate you. And most importantly, many of the volunteers with the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation that turned out today. Charlie Poling is here with East Tennessee Railcar Services and Walden's Ridge Railroad. Charlie, we appreciate you and Aaron coming up. A lot of you that saw the Santa train and the special locomotives that were on the front of the Santa train, you can thank Charlie and Aaron and some other folks with his team for making that come to fruition. We appreciate that. Ethan Witt with Eastern Kentucky University, who's the former staffer for Senator Mitch McConnell. Ethan, of course, is an Estill County native, and without his guidance and support, we wouldn't be here today. He moved on from Senator McConnell's office to EKU. Ethan, we appreciate you guys coming out today, and thanks for all your help. Finally, Bill Stuart, the state commander with the American Legion. We appreciate the use of the park. Thank you, Bill, for your service and your counterparts that are here with you today. There are several supporters who couldn't be here today that had scheduling conflicts, but it's very important to recognize Congressman Hal Rogers. Even though Congressman Barr, this is your district, Congressman Rogers has been keenly interested in this project with the impact that it has on Eastern Kentucky. Secretary Regina Stivers with the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Council. Secretary Stivers and her husband, Senate President Robert Stivers, have really helped us along the way with this project. House Speaker Pro Tem David Osborne and House Majority Floor Leader Jonathan Schell have helped as well. And finally, and probably most importantly, from all the dignitaries, is all of you current railroaders and more importantly, retired railroaders from CSX and the Louisville and Nashville Railroad. We understand how true railroading is in all of your blood. So real quick, if I could see a show of hands, all the retired railroaders that are here with us today, we really want to thank all of you guys and appreciate you turning out. Thanks so much. Our first speaker is Chris Campbell, president of the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation. Chris is a lifelong resident of Lexington, Kentucky, and the business operations manager for Complete Chiropractic and Family Wellness in Lexington, with his wife Beth, who's here with us as well. In his previous career, Chris was the baseball coach at Transylvania University and the all-time winningest coach in Trancey's history. Chris received his BA in Business Administration in 2000 from Trancey. He and his wife Beth lived in Harrodsburg. Chris?
Thank you, Chad, and thank everybody for coming out. What an awesome day. Yesterday, our Kentucky Steam Heritage team finalized an agreement with CSX to purchase 50 acres that you see behind me, much of Ravenna Rail Yard, to establish the Kentucky Rail Heritage Center. This is a landmark achievement. It marks the first time the property has changed hands in over a century and will spark an economic redevelopment in Ravenna. This project provides a new hallmark of collaboration and sets a standard for utilizing existing infrastructure to springboard new life into this beautiful and vibrant region of our state. There are thanks owed to so many, as we pointed out already, and we are glad so many of you who have had a hand in this are here today. The retired car shop, you see over my left shoulder, historic yard office further down the tracks, and accompanying expansive land will become the Kentucky Rail Heritage Center. This facility won't be a traditional railroad museum. It will be a working, living, breathing locomotive shop capable of restoring historic rail equipment. The hallmark for these efforts will be to restore and operate Steam Locomotive 2716. The process of working on and operating a steam locomotive is not unfamiliar to the people of Ravenna. The roundhouse and shop facility that once stood across the tracks was a major employer for the region, giving scores of people jobs. Though steam locomotive technology is outdated, the technical skills needed to perform the work on such engines is very pertinent in today's world. Through creative partnerships with Estill County schools, the Kentucky Rail Heritage Center will not only be restoring the past, It will be providing a living classroom for students interested in learning a skilled trade. Welding, pipe fitting, machining, and other activities can be demonstrated, taught, and practiced here. By telling the story of the past, we can inspire the future. The sprawling acreage behind me can also be redeveloped into a multi-use rail-based campus, offering much more than just a railroad shop. With the help and input of local business leaders, the Kentucky Rail Heritage Center can be a destination for showcasing the best of Eastern Kentucky. Restaurants, shops, event space, a concert venue, arts and craft stands, and green space will all be integrated into this campus that will undoubtedly become a destination for tourists and locals alike. It is also hoped that eventually visitors will be able to explore more of the beauty and charm of the region through rail excursions. Today is the first step, and there's much more to do to make this vision a reality. This initial phase is the first milestone in a large long-term plan for the region. This ongoing process will require your continued support, major fundraising efforts, and acquisition of federal grants and more land transactions. As we announce this exciting project, it's important to recognize the hard work that it took to get to this point. It's no accident that Congressman Barr and Commissioner Donahue will be speaking in a few minutes, are sitting here and will be speaking. Their staff members and they themselves have been instrumental in providing advice, support, and inspiration for the early stages of this process. Locally, Joe Crawford, Kathy Samples, Rodney Davis, and Mayor Tipton, and many others have rallied to help guide and inspire us as well. I would like to recognize the willingness of CSX to understand the importance of this project. We have worked with a team of professionals at CSX who have been cognizant of their duty to their employees and their shareholders while understanding the implications of this being more than a land transaction, but a potentially region-changing initiative. It's a credit to Chantel Davis, Eric Hendrickson, Sean Nesselt, David Hall, and many, many more in the CSX team for understanding what we are doing here and recognizing the passion of so many behind this project. I would also like to recognize the amazing members of the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation. Our group has worked over 2 years to get to this point, volunteering their time and money to make this idea become a reality. Andy Wortman, Chad Harpole, TJ Mahan, Joe Crawford, and Joe Nugent, would you please stand and be recognized? Joe over there. Okay, you're standing, so raise your hand. As we gather here today in celebration, realize that this project is a new beginning, but it won't happen immediately or be easy. As we gather here, please consider supporting the Kentucky Rail Heritage Center by volunteering, donating, or simply following us on our social media channels or our website, kentuckysteam.org. In our time developing this project, we have met an incredible group of Estill Countyans who are outgoing, strong, and proud of their heritage. The Kentucky Rail Heritage Center initiative will harness your spirit and the spirit of your ancestors who built Ravenna 100 years ago and inspire the generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Andy Barr has served as U.S. Representative for Kentucky's 6th Congressional District since January 2013. He is a member of the Committee on Financial Services and is the chairman of the Monetary Policy and Trade Subcommittee. Congressman Barr is focused on strengthening Kentucky's signature bourbon, equine, coal, agriculture, and manufacturing industries, and serves as co-chair of the bipartisan Congressional Horse Caucus. One thing I will add, we might need to add rail to that, Congressman Barr, and tourism. Congressman Barr is a graduate of Lexington's Henry Clay High School and earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Virginia in 1996. And he is Big Blue. He received his law degree from the University of Kentucky in 2001. Congressman Barr is a member of Good Shepherd Church in Lexington. He and his wife Carol, who went to high school with me in Scott County, are the proud parents of 2 daughters, Eleanor and Mary Clay. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Congressman Andy Barr.
Thanks, Chad.
Thanks,
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Well, good afternoon, everyone. What a great day. And I want to just thank Chad and Chris for their vision and their entire team at the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation. Thank all of you all for your inspirational work, your persistence, and your willingness to reconnect this community to its wonderful legacy. And all these railroaders who are here in Estill County are a testament to that. As a young boy, I would go to church camp down the road in Lee County and drove right past Ravenna on the way to the Cathedral Domain. And many of you know that wonderful place. But it was part of our childhood to see all these railroads and to see all these trains coming up and down these tracks. And so when you think of Estill County, when you think of Ravenna, you think of railroads. And what a awesome inspirational idea to use this facility for the Heritage Center, the Railroad Heritage Center. What a great idea. And we want to celebrate today this future vision of this site for the city of Ravenna, because indeed the history of Ravenna is deeply rooted in the rail system. In 1892, rail lines were fully chartered and completed through central Kentucky, including Estill County. It wasn't until 1912 that the sustainable land and water supply encouraged rail lines to further develop the surrounding area. The completion of this rail line by the Louisville and Nashville Railroad not only opened up a new era of travel for Estill County residents, but it also provided many job opportunities. The economic impact of Ravenna's railroad history is one to be celebrated, and that is exactly what the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation is doing with the development of the Kentucky Rail Heritage Center. This Heritage Center will give visitors the opportunity to experience firsthand the day-to-day operations of maintaining steam locomotives with performed skills that have not been used in over a half a century. To advance these objectives, I was proud to recently submit a letter of support on behalf of the Steam Heritage Corporation's grant application for the Appalachian Regional Commission Power Grant. The awarding of this grant would help the Heritage Corporation fund the needed upgrades to the rail car shop, the surrounding tracks, and restore the historic steam locomotive for visitors to enjoy. I look forward to seeing the developments made in this site. We all cannot wait for all of the tourists, the enthusiasts, and the students to experience Ravenna's rich industrial history. I want to thank CSX for their partnership with the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation and the community of Estill County. This is an important step forward to revitalizing the economy in eastern Kentucky. And again, let me once again thank Chris Campbell and Chad Harpole for their leadership, for their vision at the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation, and I applaud the corporation's dedication to garnering community support for these restoration efforts. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Sandy Donahue was appointed by Governor Matt Bevin as the Commissioner of the Department of Local Government under the Office of the Governor in December 2015. The Commissioner is a government relations veteran with involvement in hundreds of millions of dollars in local projects over the span of her career. Many of you are familiar with the Commissioner. She is a Lee County native and former government liaison to Congressman Hal Rogers, where she worked with local governments seeking federal funding. During that time, she worked with local leaders to secure funding to extend water lines to unserved populations, resulting in an increase from 40% served to over 90% in many counties. Donahue is a native of Beattyville, as I've mentioned, and she and her husband Charles live in Lexington and Boonville. Please join me in welcoming Commissioner Sandy Donahue.
Good afternoon, everyone. Is this not a fantastic day for our community? I'd like to start by thanking Chad and Chris for bringing their idea to share with us. I'd also like to thank them for inviting us to be here today and for CSX for making this project a reality. But I also wanted to mention that the enthusiasm from this project is widespread. It isn't just about Ravenna and Estill County and the people here, although it is in your community. As we look up the line, as far as the line goes to Hazard, people are talking about this project. They're excited. They want to know what's happening. They want to be a part of it. And in that spirit, we have people who've come here to support you today. We have Bob and Linda Smith from the Three Forks Tradition in Beattyville. We have Senator Robinson, who's come over here to be with us today. We have Representative Toby Harold, and we have Chuck Caudell, who's come down to support you in this project. And I'm sure there are others that I didn't get to talk to before we started. So today is a fantastic day, both for you, but also for the region. So that's what makes it so very exciting. So I'd like to start out with just a couple of thoughts. And I'm not going to read a speech. I'm going to talk to you like we were down there together, sitting chair to chair. But there's a few things that happen in a great project. There's dreams, there's determination, and there's good public policy. The dreams come from you. We live in a region with 38 distressed counties federally recognized by the Appalachian Regional Commission, but the answer to taking us from distress to prosperity lies within each and every one of us that are here. We know the answers, we know what works for us, we know what's going to transform the region. The dreams are ours and ours to have, and today is a perfect example of that. We also need to talk about determination. No good dream ever comes to success without the determination of the people involved. And as we've heard the previous speakers mention, you, the people here today, had the determination to make a project like this happen. You took your dream. You didn't quit. When you were told it couldn't work or it wasn't possible or no, or you went through the roller coaster up and down on, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? People thought it was a rumor. They thought it could never happen. Determination is what turns that around, and that's what you have in this community, and that is fantastic. But good, thank you. But also, you can't do it alone. You can have the dreams, you can have the determination, but without good public policy, it's very difficult to ever make a project work. And that's what is our responsibility. Congressman Barr mentioned to you that he helps make funds available through the Appalachian Regional Commission. At our office, we work with people to find funding for projects or at least fill in the piece that can't be obtained otherwise. So that's where good public policy and good elected leaders that share your vision, share your dreams, and have the determination to be your leaders and work through with you to get projects finished becomes so very important. So let's not forget that as we go forward. We need to think hard about the people that we choose to be our leaders. We have to choose people that are just as determined to make a difference as we are. So how did this project happen and how did we become involved? As mentioned earlier, I came to Department of Local Government in December 2015. Early that year, probably February or March, we learned that we were going to have the opportunity to compete for another $50 million in funding from the Appalachian Regional Commission, plus the funding that we have available in our agency. And we brought together a team of 20 or so thought leaders, not the typical people who come to the table and get money from government, but we changed it up a little bit. We brought Dave Atkinson from the Chamber of Commerce in. Chuck Caudell from Beattyville was actually there. We had heard about the project that Chad and Chris has. We invited them to the table. And we sat there for about 4 hours and talked about transformative projects for the region. And there were a lot of good ideas. And there were a lot of good comments. And there were a lot of good projects that came out of that meeting. But the project that rose to the top over and over and over that's had the most enthusiasm since our discussion that day is this one. And still today, I get emails, I get text messages, I get folks in the governor's office, whatever happened to that rail project you guys are working on? Are we ever going to get to buy a ticket and ride a train there? So those are the kinds of comments that we have gotten back since that official original meeting. And we thank Chad and Chris and you for not letting that dream die. And that's why we're here today. So at the end of all of this, the message that I'd like to leave you with is we in the governor's office and the governor find this project incredibly exciting. The governor, obviously, if you've ever met him before, you can see how he would think something like this would be phenomenal. He has children, after all. I have one here that came today because he wanted to see the train that he heard that was going to be here, and he wanted to know if he could actually step up on it and touch it. So people love trains. This community is about trains, and we need to make your dream happen. So thank you for having us here today. And Chad, Chris, thank you for letting me be here with you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you to the Governor for all the support. Our next guest is no stranger to Estill County. Joe Crawford is a native of Estill County, graduating from Estill County High School in 1998. He went on to study economics at Eastern Kentucky University and diplomacy at the University of Kentucky. Joe and I didn't know each other then, but we were across the hall each other in graduate school, which probably would have been detrimental to both of us if we'd known that at the time. Joe was involved in many development activities on the local and regional levels, having served in numerous boards throughout the state, and has been featured as speaker at multiple development and leadership events throughout the Commonwealth. Joe has worked for the Estill Development Alliance since 2005, having been the executive director since 2007. Through his role, he's been a part of the formation and growth of the Estill County Chamber of Commerce, Leadership Leap, River City Players Community Theater Group, and Estill Action Group. Joe lives in Irvine with his wife Becky and their 2 kids. Everyone, please welcome Joe Crawford.
Thank you. It is a wonderful day to be in Ravenna and in Estill County. I'm going to make my comments uncharacteristically brief. You know how well I like to have a captive audience. I'm going to tell you a quick story. A little less than 20 years ago, the Estill County High School Marching Band had a show that included one part that was all about chaos. And so there was this one chord, really bold chord. I believe it was an augmented chord, and it sounded like chaos. And at the time, a young, up-and-coming assistant band director, you may know him, Jason Bowles, heard that chord and said it sounded kind of familiar. So he took the chord and he broke it down and he changed some of the notes around to make it more familiar. And after that, he, I will say, borrowed, it was turned into a long-term loan, I believe, a brass bell that was actually on the playground for the preschool program. Fast forward to a couple months ago. We had thousands of Estill Countyans who were in Rupp Arena waiting for our first ever Sweet 16 team to take the floor in Rupp Arena. And you've never seen that many people who moved in unison in an almost manic state, jumping to their feet, uncontrollably screaming because they heard ding, 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 womp, womp, because the train was rolling through. That's just one example of how the railroad is part of the DNA for each of us as Estill Countyans. It's part of who we are, it's our heritage, it's part of our daily lives. And we're proud of that. Everybody, every kid right now that's in Estill County schools, they're an engineer. We have special cheers. Engineer 1, Engineer 0. I mean, I'm not going to do it because I don't want everybody to participate, but it really is a part of who we are. Over 100 years ago, not too much over 100 years ago, this was pretty much still farmland, but it's quite fitting that this place that has brought so much joy to so many Estill Countyans over the past decades, we're back here today to celebrate something grand in the spot where so many things began. It's incredible. So like I said, I will be brief. But on behalf of the Board of Directors for the Estill Development Alliance and the membership and leadership of our operating divisions, I just want to say that today we stand in reverence to the CSX Corporation for all the dinners that they've put on the table, for the kids they've sent through school, for the house payments that they've helped make over all these years, and for their willingness to be such a great community partner and not only see but share the vision of what can come next. We stand in sincere gratitude to our friends on the state level and on the federal level who hear crazy ideas all the time. But they heard this one and said, you know what? That might not be so crazy. And they've joined in every step of the way to help move things forward. And finally, we stand joined in excitement and anticipation with Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation for the opportunities that are just around the bend. And if you weren't aware, there are a whole lot of rail-related puns. You don't realize that until you're working on railroad stuff all the time. Get on board, around the bend, down the line, think about it. This is an absolutely outstanding opportunity. It's exciting for the future of our community. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm about ready for the revival. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And I will point out, Congressman Barr might be in trouble. You by far got the largest applause and whistles, so congratulations, Joe. Chantel Davis has over 15 years of experience with CSX and is the Vice President of Real Estate and Facilities Management with the company in Jacksonville. In this role, she oversees real estate activities, including the sales, leasing, and development of surplus property, acquisition of property for industrial development, and licensing of rail corridor and pipeline uses as it relates to CSX's properties. Davis previously served as the Assistant Vice President of CSX Real Property, where she led a team responsible for ensuring the timely construction and completion of rail infrastructure and terminal projects for internal CSX customers and subsidiaries. Davis holds a Master of Business Administration from Jacksonville University and a bachelor's degree in Communications and Criminal Justice from the University of North Florida. Everybody, let's give a big welcome to the lady and the company that has helped make this possible, Chantel Davis with CSX. Thank you, Chantel.
Thank you and good afternoon. First, I would like to thank everyone involved in this exciting and innovative project and those here today to show their support. Congressman Barr, Senator Mitch McConnell, who couldn't be here today, but expressed his statement of support, Secretary Stivers with Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet, Commissioner Donahue with the Department of Local Government, Estill County Schools, and the Development Alliance. And most of all, of course, Chris Campbell and the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation. CSX has been talking with Chris and community leaders for more than a year about Chris's vision for the Kentucky Rail Heritage Center, and this day marks a major milestone in seeing this vision become a reality. It's an honor for CSX to partner with organizations like KSHC to bring new life to historic facilities and have a positive, meaningful impact on local communities. We've been able to support many such projects in a wide range of communities over the years, from Atlanta to New York, but the Kentucky Rail Heritage Center is truly unique. By combining the region's rich rail history with today's community needs, this project will support education, economic development, and tourism in Ravenna and the Eastern Kentucky regions for many years to come. As CSX adapts to the shifting energy market and focuses on core business, this project is providing us with an opportunity to find a new and productive use for our Ravenna property. Kentucky remains a critical part of the CSX network, with nearly 3,000 miles of track and more than 1,000 employees working to serve the businesses and consumers who depend on freight rail. We could not be more pleased to continue to be a part of this region's future and this important initiative. In honor of the Kentucky Steam's dedication, perseverance, and pioneering vision, CSX would like to donate this historic caboose to your organization. The C&O 903-203 dates back to 1969, when it was the first used on the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad, a CSX predecessor line. It was actively used on freight trains until last month when it was retired. CSX will restore it to the C&O paint scheme, seen here in the photo, and deliver it to the Kentucky Steam facility here in Ravenna later this year. Thank you, Chris, KSHC, members, and everyone involved in recognizing the opportunity and, most of all, making it happen. Like all of you, I am looking forward to the day when we gather once again to cut the ribbon on the new Kentucky Rail Heritage Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chantel, and thank you, CSX, for the very generous gift. Eric Henderson, you have a job as Vanna White in the future. Thank you. As mentioned, one person that couldn't be here today was U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has been very supportive of this project, and his office and staff have been constantly getting updates from Chris and I and CSX on the progress of this project. So Senator McConnell sends his regards through a letter that I'm going to read and appreciate his comments. Dear members of the Ravenna community, today's announcement is an important step toward preserving the unique culture of our Commonwealth. Together, the Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation, CSX, local leaders, and state officials are reviving this retired facility with an opportunity for a new generation. As Kentuckians' economic needs adapt and change, it is incumbent upon each of us to remember our rich history. Visitors to this facility will have the chance to learn about the vital rail lines that have helped Kentucky fuel American prosperity for generations. I would like to thank each of you for safeguarding the lessons of Kentucky's history while encouraging future tourism and economic development. Please accept my best wishes in all of your endeavors. Sincerely, U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell. Mother Nature has held off, and in conclusion, we would like to thank all of you for turning out today for this important announcement. Most importantly, on behalf of Kentucky Steam Heritage Corporation and CSX, we look forward to working with you for the piece of property behind us to become a reality and truly a signature industry of Estill County and Eastern Kentucky. Thank you all very, very much. Everybody, the fire department is selling concessions. Please join. And CSX has sent this beautiful brand new locomotive down for photo opportunities. Feel free to take photos on the stage and enjoy your time. Thank you all.